There's power in a drumbeat on a hill above the sea. Power in the voice of a supporter. But it all amounts to nothing. Together we don't sing. There's power when we're not voices. And the day go forever. Oh, catch scenery. Valley and mountain, chaparral to the sea. And the colors of our rainbow, sunset, orange, Tory, green. There's power when we're not voices. SC loyal forever. Someday North County. Desert to islands. Get back now, you and me. All our voices strong together as we cheer on our team.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Loyal Locals podcast. I'm John Cross. I'm filling in temporarily here just a little bit for Andrew. He's stuck in traffic, so he should be joining us in just a few minutes. I'd like to thank everyone who's joining us live. And I'm going to go ahead and bring in our special guest host this week, Mr. Jerry Ibarra. Jerry, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Doing all right.
Got your Dortmund hat on, I see.
Oh yeah, I read all the tweets. I'm sorry, the excrements from all those Dortmund fans. Oh, San Diego Dortmund fans. You know, and they've converted me because they made such solid points. So now, yeah, sorry guys, I'm all about Borussia now.
No, I know because we've had multiple talks on this. You are a diehard loyal fan always.
Yeah.
So do you have any other teams that you follow, or is it really just, as a supporter, do you support any other teams, or is it just the loyal?
I'm kind of a one team kind of guy, and I'm from here. It's kind of hard for me just to pick a random team. You know, I just can't randomly be like, oh, I want to be a fan of this European team. I just can't do that. I watched a lot of Prem. I watch a lot of everything. I consider Tijuana my second home because, you know, I grew up by city being Mexican-American. So Xolos was my team for a while. And back in the day when I wanted to support the MLS a little bit more than I want to now, I picked Timbers as my team because I love Portland. And I've been there several times. I got a lot of friends up there. So that was my team. But as soon as Loyal popped up on the scene, I've just been loyal and I haven't really watched anything else. You know, I'm a one team kind of guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Super Dortmund now. Yeah, sorry.
Right. Anyway, it's good to have you, Jerry. I don't think that we have had you on the show this year, have we?
It's been a while. Yeah.
We were on season. Yeah, quite a bit last year.
Yeah, I've hosted a few times last year. I was on a few times.
Yeah, we're going to have to see if we can squeeze you on a little bit more here as we get towards the end of our season. So I have to ask you, how does it feel to be back supporting the Loyal in the stadium, right? To have them back, because it has been quite a long time. So we had them come have a series of home games, and we had 2 that we've been able to go to. So what's it like being able to be back supporting the team?
It feels good. I think I've gone to every watch party, and those are always a lot of fun. But when it's that long of a break, you kind of forget what the atmosphere is like a little bit. Just being back there, I was super tired and I didn't make it to the setup, and I felt super guilty about that. But okay, so this past week, I went out every day, for 7 days straight, just for random soccer things. And so by the time I got to Torero, I was dead. I'm oh, how am I gonna play drums all game? And I don't know, something happens to you, you kind of kick it into another gear, and just the energy being back at Torero has just been so long. I forgot how just awesome it is, and I made sure to play the drums extra loud, and it was just great to be back. It was great to see some old faces. You know, a lot of people don't make it to those watch parties, so it was just a lot of hugs. Dude, it feels like somebody said it felt like coming back from summer break to school. You know, a little bit.
Yeah.
But
it almost was. Awesome. It was a 5-week break.
Yeah, it almost was. Sure. I was just stoked to be back.
Tell me a little bit about, since I didn't get to go, as most of you out there know, that I've been dealing with COVID here and still recovering from my COVID exposure I had back in June. So I haven't been able to attend any of these things. Give me a little feel of what the tailgate was like, because it's the first time I think ever in our 4 years, we've truly had the opportunity to do a proper tailgate.
Yeah, I mean, being San Diegan, an '80s kid, Chargers fan, I've been to many tailgates right in that same parking lot. So it felt really nostalgic for me. But I've never been to one this big. Like, people were still showing up like 30 minutes before we had to pack up and setting up their tents. I'm like, hey, what do you guys do? We have to leave in like 30 minutes. And they're like, we have beer, we have food. It was, I think we might have been like 12 tents long. And, it was a lot of familiar faces, but we're just, a lot of us are trying to be friendly. Like some Dortmund fans would walk by like, hey, man, you want a beer? Come join us, or just some random loyal fans who aren't part of any of the supporter groups. Like, we invited them. And, it was just a proper San Diego tailgate. It was, like I said, I've been to hundreds of them, and that's probably the biggest and the most fun one I've ever been to. And the food was awesome. Plenty of beer. It was just a great time.
That's excellent. So obviously I said I didn't go. Give me a little feeling of what we'll talk about the game stuff in a second, because I think we're pretty close to getting Andrew on here. But atmosphere in the stadium, because I still have never been to Snapdragon. Every opportunity, I had tickets for the Dortmund match, but then being sick, I couldn't be out there. It seems like I get thwarted every time that I try to go. So, what was it like? The atmosphere, the locals, and everything in there. What was it? 138? Was that the section number? I was going to say 109, but
yeah, I mean, there's a song, we are 138, like Misfits song. So there's already a song for the section if we ever wanted to, whatever. No, but I think because it's Dortmund, and it's kind of a lot of people were watching all over the world. We really tried to amp it up a little bit more. Logistically, it was kind of strange because like I had my drum set up and I looked for the other drummers and I'm like, oh, Andrew's way over there, and the other drummer's way over there. But once we started playing, I thought we sounded great. I was a little concerned about how sound traveled because at Torero you're in that little like valley, so the sound kind of stays in. It sounds kind of nice. Not so much at Snapdragon. So I was worried that the sound was just going straight up. But later on, I heard that we sounded great. We had compliments from the Dortmund fans. One cool little thing about that section is that they have the bars between each row.
Right,
and a lot of our capos, like Sam, and I forget who else. I don't remember if Nick Duffy stood up, but a few of our capos stood up on those rails. And they took their shirts off, and and they were just kind of cheering us on. And it's kind of nice when you have your capo a little bit higher up, so because then you can follow them a little bit better. Like sometimes I'll miss cues at Torero because I don't see like the changeover that Nick does with his hand signals and stuff. So I look up, oh, there's Sammy. Sammy's telling me like 1 time left, or like the a cappella or whatever. So it was really cool having them there, and I watched parts of the rebroadcast, and you can see them up there, and it just looked really cool. But I have mixed feelings about Snapdragon just because of all the politics in the past. But I mean, it really is a nice stadium. I do wish it was a little bit more angled, a little more for soccer,
steeper.
Not for American football. Steep, yeah. But we just brought it. We tried to be as loud as we could. I thought we did well. We got complimented by the Dortmund fans. Even a bunch of just random San Diegans just showed up who weren't even loyal fans, really. Just people that heard about it and wanted to come. Even they were coming up to us and like, you guys were awesome. So we try to bring it. We try to be as loud as we can. I'm glad the sound was contained. People got really passionate, and there was some stuff going on here and there, but I think that was kind of settled. And it was just awesome.
All right. Well, I think we have Andrew with us finally. I'm going to bring him on, and we'll get some of his reactions.
I'm so glad that we're talking about the Dortmund match. I didn't know if we were going to get into it early or later. And I have to apologize for being late, but Gosh, I really just want to dive right into it because I have a lot of thoughts about Snapdragon. They've really made an effort to like push this notion that they're such a soccer friendly venue, and they have all of these international soccer coming through. The home field of the wave. MLS is going to be here. Like, all of you Soccer City people were wrong. Look at us. Our football stadium is great for soccer. And then when you go, they're like, yeah, your flagpoles are too long. Oh, 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 you're doing this march. Breaker. We need to get some security over here. They're doing a march. They're doing a march. This wasn't negotiated. You're intimidating the Dortmund fans. Have these people at Snapdragon, is this their first experience with like supporter culture in soccer? Because it really blows my mind that they apparently were completely unprepared and had no idea what in the hell we were going to want to do. My understanding is a march is like a given in a soccer match for a supporter group, but they were pissed off about that. Big flags. You watch any any of the big leagues, watch MLS games, you will see large flags in the supporter section. And guess what? It looks a lot better whenever you have that kind of stuff in the supporter section. But they turned away a bunch of our flags because they're on 10-foot poles. And they're like, oh, 5-foot poles only. Why? Well, they did a risk assessment, a security assessment. They went over all of the requests with a fine-tooth comb and determined that while a 5-foot hollow PVC pipe is safe, a 10-foot hollow PVC pipe, that's just a bridge too far. When we're trying to like be safe. Loyal car flags. The club brought a bin full of loyal car flags. Tried to get them in before the match, to hand out to fans.
Right.
No, that's not going to happen. We can't have those because the plastic sticks. Those are dangerous. And then, of course, Dortmund was handing out those flags. And if you looked around the stadium throughout the match, guess what you saw? A bunch of fucking yellow flags waving around on plastic sticks. Like, why is it this is the rule, but it's not the rule? It's really frustrating and infuriating, really, because you are the ones that are saying that you're for soccer, and you are the one that is trying to say that this is such a great soccer venue. Well, if you want it to be a great soccer venue, it's got to have a great supporter section, and you can't have a great supporter section if you're wagging your finger and tisking supporters for doing something as simple as a fucking march or having big flags. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible supporter experience. I love Torero. Any desire to relocate to Snapdragon is completely snuffed in my mind. What a debacle! What a complete embarrassing, humiliating experience. Having them go through your drums with like a fine-tooth comb, wanting to look inside the drum heads. Hey, guess what? My drum does not have transparent heads. It has a fucking Teflon fucking head. I'm like, well, there's a vent hole in the side. If you want to look in the vent hole, I'm not about to get a drum key and take these fucking heads off. You gotta be kidding me. They took all of the flagpoles and were like looking through the flagpoles. Like, what do you think is what's in? What do you think is in there? We filled it with, what we did? We filled it with wet cement and let it dry overnight. That way we could get into a Warriors type brawl with the yellow wall. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's ridiculous to treat supporters like that and to really just kind of suck the fun out of the whole experience before it even began. And cheers to Nick Duffy, who was dealing with these yahoos for weeks leading up to this match. And I didn't really understand why he appeared to be so frustrated until I had my rubber glove inspection on the way in myself. But yeah, I'm glad we hit this topic.
Man, so totally different experience than I had.
They heard about the loyal cult hooligans. That was
clearly, yeah.
Our bad reputation preceded us.
I mean, I get it. You know, if they're not allowed to smoke, like you want to make sure you don't have smoke. I mean, Torero, you know, the club, but it's the club at Torero that, you know, checks out our stuff and makes sure we're not bringing in smoke. Like, and they're only doing that because guess what? People were bringing in smoke. So in a reaction to that, you have a little bit of a heightened security, but it's the club and it's not like an adversarial like thing, but it was very adversarial when we were going through the security inspection. It really left a bad taste in my mouth. I thought it was completely unnecessary, and of course it was, because what was going to happen. And then it was much later that I found out that they were freaking out about the march, which is just, I mean, beyond the pale. The notion that we're intimidating the Dortmund fans is just, I mean, it's hilarious. Well, first of all, good if that was intimidating, like doing the tra la 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 song. If you're intimidated by that, like, get ready, because you're about to get it. Because I don't know, man.
We just intimidated the entirety of the yellow wall.
I think they got.
Yeah, they're singing the boots right now.
And Blick was playing the little mini bass drum, and they're like, "Oh, the drums are only authorized in the section. You know, we didn't know you're gonna walk through the concourse with the drum." And I mean, oh my! Let me tell you, if MLS is going to be playing there in 2 years' time, or less than 2 years at this point, they better get fucking ready, because if you're going to be acting like this and treating the MLS supporters like we were treated, there's 100 of us at the match, maybe more. And you're going to treat a supporter section that might be pushing 2,000 or 3,000 people like that. I don't know. It's I think they've got a lot to learn about supporter culture if they're really going to call themselves a soccer venue.
There's going to be a steep learning curve, certainly.
Yeah.
So, how about the match, yo? What do we did I miss to talk about the matches?
No, we're waiting for you.
We haven't.
Oh,
yeah, we haven't spoken about the match, but
y'all are so sweet waiting for me. I'm so sorry I was late.
All good.
In terms of sound, because we were just kind of touching on this, and then you talked about the experience in the group. Since I was not there, you guys were quite loud through the television. I could hear you all game long, which was great to hear. That I have to say, I was so proud of all of you guys out there, and I think the actual number, at least of tickets sold in that section, was closer to 300.
Well, that
holds about 600, I think, in that section if every seat was sold.
I'm guessing it must be mic'd a little differently than Torero, because I wasn't able to rewatch the game because I only pay for ESPN Plus and not the whole ESPN. So anyway, I did see some clips online, and it did sound very clear, and it really sounded good. More so than Torero, which appears to have like a directional aspect. When the camera is facing the opposite end, you can't really hear us, and then when it faces our goal, you really do hear it. I don't know if that was happening at Snapdragon or not, but I saw one comment online. or maybe it was in the Discord. Who knows? That somebody said that every time Dortmund scored, we got louder, which is probably true, because, you know, I mean, what are you going to do? You know what? I will say, I do give the team a lot of credit. A real success in my mind, holding Dortmund to 6 goals. Like, you might come in and get 6 on us, but you're not getting that 7th one. Like, that's where we drew the line. We held, made the stops where we had to, and they were not able to score 7 goals, which is, you know, as good as a win. Thought it was really cool after the match. Dortmund came up, you know, with Loyal towards the supporter section and gave us a little bit of a little clapping thing. So it was cool. I think everybody had fun at the match. I think the players had fun, I think the players all had fun. I hope that Drenfrey had fun. He didn't look like he was having fun at the moment. it's a lot to ask for a kid. Like that free kick was just like, oh, I mean, what
That
are you
was-
gonna do? They're a
It was a
Champions
great
League
free
side.
kick.
And like, I mean, that kind of showed it, right? Like, okay, here's like a top 12, top 10 club in the world. And they didn't roll out their scrubs. They weren't like Manchester United. They played, they played some people, and it was really cool to watch. And I'm glad that the fans got to see these top European players, play in San Diego, because if they went to Man U expecting to see that, that's not what they saw.
Yeah, Jerry, did you get a chance to watch much of the game? Because I know when you guys both drum, and when you're drumming, sometimes you don't get to watch much. But did you get to watch much of the play on the field?
I think I did. I thought, for example, we played pretty well in the first half. And when I checked because I can't check my phone when I'm drumming, but at halftime I checked my phone and I got like 10 texts from like my nephew who was watching at home, a couple buddies of mine, my brother, and they're like, "Dude, what the hell? Like, this doesn't seem like a friendly. It looks like Loyal are here to win, and they're playing pretty well." I know Stoney made that mistake, but hey, that happens. And then that first goal, I think it happened like in a minute and a half, I think.
Yeah, it happened really fast.
Yeah, if they were a little bit more organized, maybe that wouldn't have happened, and it could have been much closer. We had a chance to score at least 2 goals, I think, in the really close in the beginning. But generally, in that first half, I thought we were attacking well, that we were playing well, pushing well. We had them on their back heels here and there. As far as the second half went, by then I was already like a few beers deep, and I was just having such a great time. And then I noticed some of the players on our team didn't even have their last names on the back. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to enjoy it and not care too much anymore about the.
It was definitely a rotated squad in the second half.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just tried to be as loud as I
Toomey.
could. Yeah. I just tried to be as loud as I could and have a good time. So I didn't follow it too much in the second half, if I could be honest.
I have a question for you, Andrew, also, because when I was watching on television, I agree with what you said, Jerry. There were stretches of the game where Loyal played really well, right? And pressing and controlling and moving the ball around on Dortmund. And yeah, Dortmund's in preseason, and it's really their first, at least in this trip, their first match. And they're doing 2-a-days and everything else. But, we are a Division II side in the U.S. playing against a Champions League team who played their starters. And I thought the Loyal did, if you take all of that into consideration, the Loyal did a good job. The one thing I did notice is just amazing to me when I see this is you look at the Loyal players next to the Dortmund players, and it's like men standing next to teenage boys.
Huge.
The size difference was noticeable across the pitch on everyone. Was it that obvious there in the stadium when you look out there? That the Dortmund player is just physically more imposing than the Loyal players.
Yeah, my friend texted me. He said, like, it looks like you guys are playing against against 11 Antonio Gateses. I'm like, yeah, these guys are huge.
Yeah, it was, it was kind of, I think, to be expected. But, one thing about this sport is that, heart will take you. It won't take you all the way, but it'll keep you in the fight for, well, I guess about 90 seconds. But they did. The thing is that they're playing against world-class players, and they, scored some world-class goals. You can't really. I don't think anybody expected them to come out and, just truck them or fight to a 0-0 draw. Like, I don't think anybody was expecting that, but they played their asses off and they played really well. They were able to connect and press on the attack. They were able to connect passes on the attack, and they were able to press Dortmund. They were pressing them early, and Dortmund was struggling to break through the Loyal's press at times, which was, they're in their off season. They're, traveling internationally. Like, maybe it's not so easy to get up and deal with a press. But Dortmund found a way, I guess you could say, to fight through it. But yeah, you really can't fault the team for the result. I mean, it was just like Jeffrey said in the chat, a soccer celebration, and it wasn't really adversarial between the fan groups either. There's no the idea that they're intimidated, or like there is no like
Right.
there's no like animosity or otherism with fans from a league on a different league on a different continent. This is not these teams are not competing with one another at all in any way whatsoever. There's different. It might as well be a different fucking sport. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. It was
So I know
it was friendly.
it was really cool though. I mean, I do think we probably should move on from the game, but it was, and we really should acknowledge that just having a club of that caliber come in and play our side in an exhibition match is, I feel like it was a huge moment for the club, for Loyal, and kudos to everybody at the club who were able to make that happen. I don't know how these things happen, but they did it. I think Dortmund went on to play Chelsea and like other, clubs that people know their names. And they made time to come and play Loyal. And the fact that happened is something that, really, I think means a lot for us, right? Because,
Right.
we're used to seeing Phoenix Rising and no, I mean, well, forget them, but the other clubs in the USL, like no slam on them, but we're used to seeing other USL clubs. And I mean, we get excited to go play an MLS team, to go play Galaxy or play Seattle. Like those are big moments.
Right.
But this was a whole other thing. Like we said, Champions League club. So yeah, what a treat for everybody.
Yeah.
So to kind of move on, as you said, to the Colorado Springs match on Sunday, where we're finally back in Torero. How well do you think this game set up the performance we had on Sunday? Because if we had gone 2 weeks without playing anything coming into that Sunday match, I think it might have been a slightly different situation.
I don't know, because I don't know if y'all touched on this, but there was a roster change with the San Diego Loyal.
We have not touched on it yet. Yeah.
Center back Kyle Adams traded to some team on the East Coast. Which one is it? Charlottesville. Louisville. Oh. Well, okay, hold on. I'm crossing my wires here. Louisville. And we got a winger. We got another center back, a winger on loan, and a center back in the deal. Adams, fan favorite. The beautiful blonde mane of hair. Who can forget the banger against Seattle, which we kind of touched on in the Open Cup to send that game into extra time. To me, one of, if not the like singular greatest goals in club history, just a rocket into the net out of nowhere, apparently, because the camera angle, you didn't even know he was running up to the ball.
Yeah.
Just he gave us that moment, and that's something that can never be taken away. And I hope he does well in Louisville. I'm sure he will. There were some issues, on the field. Obviously, in that very match, he did score that goal, but earlier I think he did give up a penalty. Right, there was a foul in the box, and that wasn't his last one for the year. It's been kind of a double-edged sword with Kyle this season, where he giveth and then he taketh away.
Yeah, I think Kyle's more natural position is playing in the center as well, and I think Nate really started to favor Stoneman back in the center, and then that just kind of left Kyle out on the left, and I don't think that's his best position, at least in a back three. So I think there were several things. I think that was part of the choice. Is do you pick a better outside of your three backs there, or do you just sit one on the bench for a while? And if you can take one and bring in another player who, move one of those players, I guess, between Stoneman and Adams, and hopefully get somebody else who can help you here down the stretch. We'll see. We'll see if it ends up being a better trade for us or a better trade for them as we head
Sure.
into the last
Well,
stages of
I
the
mean,
season
you've
here.
got one result already
Yeah.
that is favorable. The match now, to your earlier question, I think it must have been good for that first half squad to get some minutes in against Dortmund, and then come off at half and then kind of watch and enjoy the rest of the match
Yeah.
and kind of get their minds right for Colorado Springs, a team that is a good team and that was coming in with revenge on their minds after being really embarrassed by Loyal in Colorado. Of course, they were playing a man down due to a red card very early in that match, but was that a 5-0 match? Was that
5-0,
the
yeah.
scoreline? So we had to be ready for them to come in, and to the team's credit, they were. And the first half was another kind of dominating half against that Colorado Springs team. If not for an incredible goal by Joe Corona right at the end of the half, we would have been going in, tied with nothing apiece. So that goal at the end of the first half really kind of changed, I think, the flavor and the tone going into the second half, where
Definitely.
I think we were much more on our back heel in that second half, and Colorado was much more aggressive in the attack. But thanks to a non team of the week performance by Koke Vegas, probably his best performance in goal since he's been on Loyal, but no love
Agreed.
from the league. This is interestingly second game in a row where a player from San Diego Loyal has balled their ass off and not gotten the proper respect from the league, which I don't know. Maybe other teams do good. I don't know. I don't watch other teams, but we go back to Adrian Perez and his virtuoso performance, and then against this same Colorado Springs team, by the way, and then Koke's performance in goal on Sunday. Just whenever if you want to get excited about your team, right, you're looking for things like this to happen, right? Where one game it's one guy, and the next game it's the next guy, and the next game, and you are just getting these performances from key players that are getting you over that line, right? Like either everything goes wrong, but when things are going right, this is kind of what you see, right? Like, oh man, this was the Perez game. Well, this was the Koke game. And like, far be it from me to, prognosticate over optimistically, but these are really good signs going into this part of the season. I'm not the first person to point out that we have a run of home games. I think our next 4 games are at home, and we're in great form after a long, arduous, largely unsuccessful road trip, and they came out of it, and we're now getting we're getting a run of form like this. I think it's very encouraging, very positive coming out of that. I didn't see a lot to really make me nervous. Of course, it's the same team the last 2 matches, but any worry has been. It's amazing what winning will do. Getting 3 points, how much it changes your perspective on things.
Totally.
Well, I had made a comment a few podcasts back that I saw a lot of good in what the team was doing. We just, in vital times, we weren't making the plays we needed to make, which was hurting us, and other teams were. And these last couple matches, yes, both against Colorado Springs, we have made those vital plays. That Joe Corona shot was through traffic. 9 times out of 10 that doesn't go in. That's a a well struck ball through traffic off the post. It was just a
It
fantastic
even
shot.
went off the goalie's fingertips, and it was struck with such velocity that even the goalie getting a deflection on it didn't matter because it was going in no matter what.
Right. And then Koke coming up with huge stops because if Corona doesn't hit that before the half, as you said, and we go in 0-0, it's a different attitude coming out the second half. They were pushing us around the field in the second half, and Koke came up huge for us. But if any of those 2, 3, 4 shots go in, it's a totally different game. And I do think winning kind of helps sometimes skew your way of thinking about things. But I think we have been playing well. We just weren't making those key moments and vital times of the game. And in the last two, we have, like you said, the Perez game, the Corona/Koke game, this last one. If we keep having people step up at vital times, we're doing other things right. We should, it could be a good run for us. But the USL is so competitive as I don't have it right in front of me here. I have to pull it up, but I looked at it earlier. I think 10 points separate second place through 11th place right now. It's crazy. And in 3 games, the whole table could be flip-flopped on its edge.
Yep.
So, these are the moments we need to step up and have our players have those kind of performances, and they have the last couple of games. And yeah, it's great. And I hope they keep the run going for our entire home stretch.
What do you think, Jerry? Sunday, the dreaded Sunday afternoon game. It was very hot. I don't know. The heat maybe started affecting some people in the section. I saw towards the end of the match, some clothing coming off, and
I think they're trying to make it a tradition. 85th minute, shirts off. I'm gonna work out a little bit more before I start doing that.
Y'all enjoy it. That's for y'all. That ain't for me.
There were times when the cloud cover came in, and I'm like, okay, this is all right. But then it would, typical San Diego, the clouds would part again. There were a few times, I think around the 25th minute, I'm playing as hard as I can, and I started feeling it. I'm like, uh-oh, and I was trying to signal to Ken or somebody, hey, can you give me some water? Can you give me some water? And they just beer. All right, I'll get you a beer. I'm like, no, water. But then it cooled off again, and then again, I think around the 60th minute, I just really, really felt that heat, and I was getting a little worried. I was like, this could be a little bit dangerous. I should maybe stop and just go grab a bit of water or whatever. But I got through it. Like I always say, San Diego is nothing compared to the rest of the country. Yeah, sure, it's humid, it's hot, but it's 10 times worse than Dallas, 10 times worse than Atlanta, 10 times worse everywhere. So yeah, I was able to get through it, but there were a couple instances here and there where I was a little worried.
Man, it was hot. I mean, it was hot. But for some reason, the hot in Trero doesn't hit the same as the hot in Snapdragon for that U.S. game. That was brutal. But maybe it's because I have something to do in 109. Playing the drum, I don't. I get to focus on something other than the sun and the heat. But I mean, I think our next game is a night game. I don't know how many day games we've got coming up, but I do appreciate when the club, tries to avoid them. With the USD football season approaching, that becomes more difficult. But I in the crowd, even I was really kind of concerned because it's been such a long time since we had a home match. My wife got a call from we always have tickets, but the club is calling around, calling people to, the sales team to get them to get tickets. And I was afraid that oh man, people forgot about Loyal. This has been a week with 2 soccer matches during the week. And then, are people going to show up? And then at the beginning of the match, it didn't look so good. The main section was a little bit thin. Our section was a little thin, but then, after, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, I looked over and it filled up to kind of what we usually get. And the announced attendance was, again, north of 5,000. So, I am glad, and it is, you know, an encouraging sign that the team is consistently drawing, even in a Sunday afternoon game, which 2 seasons ago we had a run of Sunday afternoon games, and it wasn't always as full as it was.
They were light,
as it's
lightly
been this
attended.
year.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised too. Just like you, I was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be empty." But yeah, it was a good crowd. It wasn't a sellout, but it was a really good crowd.
Yeah, and I know before we move on from this match, I need to not forget about Ronaldo Damas's goal at the end of the match, because I don't know how long it's been since he's found the back of the net, but when he found it, he just looked like a combination of relief and ecstasy, because I think he's probably been a little frustrated, and you know, I've been a little frustrated with not with his individual performance, but the team's kind of inability to set him up in a position to do what he does. Right, those things hadn't been happening, and I think he needs those things to happen to be effective. And you just saw it so perfectly in that play. He's so disruptive when he's in that box, because I mean, there was his shot was saved, but because he's such a menace in there, he finds the rebound and just so calmly and just surgically puts it right into that left corner, and you really saw it. The whole team came and celebrated with him.
Yeah, it was good.
It was
Very
really
noticeable watching on television as well. And by the end of the game, kind of times I think are great for Damas, because whether we're chasing a goal or defending a lead and be able to counterattack, but that's his thing, is counterattacking. Give him space. He needs the space to work.
Definitely.
And
you see what he does in that space, and that put the game away, because it was 1-0, and Colorado had been on the attack, and it'd been like Koke save, Koke save, Koke save. Like, I don't know how many times in that second half we stopped one of our chants to do the Koke's chant, because he just kept on making saves.
Right.
Yeah.
And so when Ronaldo put that goal in, it was like a big just sigh of relief. Like, okay, we're good. Like, there's not going to be any surprises at the end of this one. And it was a great Sunday afternoon at Torero.
And I think one of the most lopsided voting for man of the match I've ever seen. You know, it was pretty much a runaway for Koke. I just a handful of votes to other people, but that was, I mean, usually there's people are like, yeah, you know, it could be this person. Yeah, they scored a goal, but this person played well in the midfield, or this one defended well. You know, it gets spread out, but usually there is someone
the goal
who kind
scorers
of rises
usually
to the top.
Sure.
Yeah, but this one was like, it wasn't even close.
Yeah,
he was a well earned man of the match from us.
Yeah, but not good enough to even make the bench on the team of the week. So, gosh,
I haven't looked at that.
Some more saves. What's going on here? How many clean sheets in a row does this man have to get a little bit of respect from this league? But you know what? Respect is one thing in July. We'll see come playoff time.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Hey, before we go to the Orange County match, I have a question for you guys. Did you guys read or see the email about the live Always Loyal podcast with Landon Donovan?
Yeah, I RSVP'd.
Is that a competing podcast? Because guess what?
Slightly. We may have to adjust our time, because they're going 6 to 8 on that Tuesday. It's on a Tuesday.
Oh my goodness.
So that was one reason I brought it up.
They probably did that on purpose. They were like, "Oh, that's whenever those boys get on."
Why? Yeah, probably. I was just, I'm sure they're thinking about us all the time.
Yeah, they're mad at how we threaten the Dortmund fans.
Right. But I was curious if either of you have heard anything, because this happens to be right after the 9th and 10th, the league-wide meetings where they're supposedly voting on whether to pursue pro-rel or not. And I just was wondering about the timing. I haven't heard anything. I'm just speculating and throwing that out. Is there any?
I was wondering about the timing as well.
I was
I'm sure
I was just
be some
curious
sort
if
of
anybody had
announcement.
heard any whispers of anything about that.
No.
The timing was interesting. They've never done a live Always Loyal podcast like that, and the fact that they have Landon Donovan just felt like
Something's up.
something might be like planned to be talked about, or it could just be coincidence. I don't know. Could be just they've scheduled it and they're doing something at Lucia Capital for their sponsors, right? To do a fun thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just speculating.
I mean, it'd be cool if there was some connection here and there's some kind of news that's going to come out of these meetings, even if it's pro rel. That would be obviously the big story. But regardless of what happens at the meeting, it's probably just the team trying to engage with their fans. I mean, I'm kind of the simplest solution is usually the simplest answer is usually what it is, and maybe this is just seen by them as an opportunity to engage some of their sponsors and get some names out there and pull in some fans. And what name is going to draw fans more than Landon's?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could be purely for the sponsor, right? Just something they're doing for them. So I just asked to see if anybody had heard anything.
Nobody tells me anything, man. I learn everything just by reading Twitter and Discord and filtering that,
or by listening to the Loyal Locals podcast. I did also want to give a quick shout out to Corbin Williams. If you're not familiar with Protagonist Soccer, they're kind of an indie media outlet that covers mostly lower league soccer, and they had a kit design contest, and Corbin's design won the contest. So I wanted to give a shout out to him. I don't have the graphic to pull up here live, but
I saw it weeks ago. I thought it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's good. He made the Final Four, and then
no offense, but it's kind of like the least surprising thing. I mean, the kid is like just got an eye for design. He's got an eye for color.
Yeah.
And like every rendering that he's shared in Discord, like all of his designs, they just sing. Like it's really kind of unfair, like for anybody trying to compete with that dude. Like, I mean, congratulations, but like, of course, like, goddamn, like his designs are great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, ready to talk about Orange County?
Is there anything? Sure. Oh, you know what? My main thought on Orange County is, and I did not hear this because I was wherever I was, but apparently the pregame for Dortmund, the Snapdragon has like hype like a hype guy and like somebody going around like interviewing fans over the PA.
Yeah.
Apparently they found like the one Orange County soccer fan that exists, and that fan was at the match and took the opportunity when the mic was stuck in front of his face to take a shot at the Loyal, saying like, "Oh yeah, Orange County, we're going to come in here and beat Loyal." Was that at the Dortmund game or was that at the Manchester game? It might have been the Manchester United game. I can't. It was one of the Snapdragon games. I may be talking out of school a little bit. It might have been the Man U Wrexham game that they found the Orange County fan, my word is you're wrong. I know you got to say it over the Stadium PA with like thousands of people listening, but I'm here to tell you that you're wrong and that Orange County is not good, and we habitually go up to Orange County and take points off of y'all, the little brother up the road, and you're gonna come down here, and it's gonna happen again. Maybe are they sending their supporter group this time? Because I remember the last time Orange County was in town, nobody showed up.
Well, I would expect a rather large contingent because they have had quite a run over the last 5 weeks. I mean, they are just 2 points behind us, I think. If you look at
I don't watch other teams, bro. You got to tell me because I don't watch these other teams. I'm
If you look at the most recent power rankings on the West, it's us and then Orange County. So of the teams that are hot right now, so they're coming in hot. They won last week. They are playing really well. I'm looking forward to the game. I think it's going to be a great matchup because there's been some recent times where they've just been down at the bottom. They haven't been very good, but they're playing. They've picked up some people and they're playing really well, which I think I like that better. Because I think it makes for a more entertaining and exciting match. So
Yeah, as
I'm
long as
really
we
looking
win.
forward to it this weekend.
As long as we win. I mean, if they beat us, I'm not going to be entertained. I want them to suck. I want them to be garbage. Every team we play. I wish them nothing but the worst.
Well, I want us to win.
I want us
but
to
I
win.
want us to
Sure.
keep beating good teams so that we're ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it is better when they're better, and we beat them. That's the big qualifier there.
But it's going to be good, and it's there's some interesting, I guess, storylines. If you guys remember the last time we played them, they had a player that was removed from the game, and remember we were there and had the big long stretch, and we found out later of words were said. Interesting that they're coming back here on our Pride night and coming back, and that they're playing better. So it's going to make for a really interesting matchup and a great chance for us to really separate from them in points. To really
so this
jump
came up
the
in
table
the
and
chat.
push them
John,
back.
apparently you've been watching Orange County. Has Among been playing?
He played in the last match. He came in as a sub. I watched part of it. I was just, I'm inside all the time, so I've been watching a lot of soccer. So on Saturday night, I had my little quad screen thing set up on my TV, and I was watching some of the West Coast matches. And Orange County looked pretty good.
I would like to see him
in.
again. I'm not going to. I hold no ill will to Thomas Among. He was
no, not at all.
It was a joy watching him play for Loyal.
Kind of the same thing though. He just, the way he likes to back in on a defender, like if a ball's coming up, he gets kneed and gets a hip or something in his lower back all the time. He was down on the ground injured again for that. So I don't know if he's gonna. I don't expect him. I don't know. Maybe he'll start. I don't know Orange County close enough to know where he fits in best with them if they're just rotating, and that's why he came in as a sub. But the few times I've watched, he has come in as a sub and looks like Thomas Among. He still looks like he can always be dangerous, and he's fast. And frankly, we do not have the fastest back line. And
really?
And that always scares me when we come up against a team that has some
when Koki's
speed.
At the middle circle and
right.
I don't know if you saw it going around Koki's heat map from the game. It was very funny.
Yes. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was like midfield.
It was like around the penalty spot.
That's cool.
And then way up towards the center circle.
Wow.
Yeah, so that does sound like it'll be a great match and a night match, which we support that. We're all about it. Playing in the dark. So what? Yeah, I was going to ask John. What's the plan? Are we doing a parking lot, or we're back at Coronado? What's the plan pregame?
Yeah, I was trying to track that down for this week because there was some talk last week about maybe joining Chavo's Deft.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it last week. Part of the reason is because we had mentioned on the podcast that we were going to be at Coronado Brewing and didn't want to be confusing. Before kind of we went to press, so to speak, I did not get a final answer. So I would say it's likely we'll be at Coronado. So let me back up. If you're helping with setup, as always, 4 hours before the match, so 3:00, meet at the circle in front of the parking lot if you want to help with setup. 4 o'clock is when we typically start the pregame. So my best guess right now is it's going to be Coronado, only because the last thing I heard was there wasn't solid confirmation about getting together with Chavos at Deft. But I would just double check our socials and double check the Discord if you like to participate in the pregame, just to make sure where we're meeting. Then we always meet, about 6:35 at the fountain to do the march on the way in, and post-match at O'Brien's and all our normal watch party locations if you can't make the match. So it's pretty much all the same thing, just possible question on where the official pregame is going to be. So sorry I don't have a better answer for that.
I went to Deft on Sunday. I just popped in real quick. But man, it was slammed before the match. It was like, it wasn't just Chavos. There was a lot of loyal fans there.
Right on.
It was really packed, and there was a pretty long line for beer and everything. So, yeah, words out on where to go before the match. Coronado, Deft, wherever you go, like, you're going to be surrounded by your fellow loyal fans.
That reminds me, guys, I have some bad news.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna drop bad. I'm gonna drop something bad right now. Kev Burrows is relocating, so he hasn't told me yet where they're going to be relocating, but I think we're losing that National City location, and so we're going to lose our nice fresco that we painted there. It's a tough spot. For those of you that live in the South Bay, you probably know that already. Like, that thing's turned over so many times. And so we tried hard to keep him going at that spot. But he's not, he's going to relocate. He's not like closing it down. And he says that we can, wherever he's relocating to, we can have our watch parties there. But yeah, you heard it here first. He's
you plan on staying in the South Bay, or is he?
I know he was trying, because my brother is helping him with financial planning and financial advice. He was trying to open up a location in North County. But I don't know for sure exactly where he's going to be relocating this specific one. He might still have one at North County, one somewhere else, or just North County. I don't know yet. I'll give you guys more information as it comes. But yeah, I think we're going to be losing that spot, but that's all right. We'll follow him wherever he goes. He's a massive loyal supporter. So
nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Would love to give him business as soon as he figures out where he's going to be.
Yeah, and he has that other location in PB. Some of you guys know about that, right? The burger joint. I can't remember its name right now. It's awesome. It's so good. Highly recommend it. It's a little small for a watch party. I know the Chavos had a watch party there, and I heard it was a success, but it's a little small. But it's good food. Always a good spot.
I'll never know. I don't go to PB. Sorry.
Yeah, it's rough going down there. It's not all the way down Garden. It's only halfway down Garden.
Kind of a blanket policy for me. Mission Bay, PB, not happening. Like,
yeah, it's rough. It's tough. But at least like his restaurant's always busy there because of all the traffic. So sorry.
All right, and then I just
let's not end on a sour note. It's
all right, a couple of Bum TV things. Bum's Breakdown should be coming out this week. They will be recording on Wednesday, which for us, as we're recording this, is tomorrow. So that means the episode will likely come out on Friday, possibly Thursday. But they'll be recording it Wednesday. So just if you're looking out for that, they're recording it just a little later than they usually are this week. And that's the only real update I have.
All right. I do want to plug, I know this is the Loyal Locals podcast, but Chavos are doing in the midst of their backpack drive. If you want to donate, look up Adrian on Twitter. He's got a Venmo link for you. Of course, you can bring a backpack. I think that is coming up like in the next week or so. So if you want to give a little bit, donate a backpack to some kids that need them. It's easy. It's easy. It's as easy as scanning his little Venmo tag and sending him a couple bucks.
Yeah, and I think this is the third year that they've done this.
Mm-hmm. At least,
I think so. And been highly successful in the community. So yeah, if you have any chance to help out, either sending some money their way or if you have a backpack to donate, please help out. It gets a lot of bags out into the community for kids who could really use them.
And another reminder, I tried to do this today. The website was down. I don't know what's going on, but the Pride Raiser, I know me not reading emails. I did find some emails reminding from Pride Raiser to make good on your pledges.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what is going on, but I had some issue trying to do that today. The link didn't go to anywhere, so hopefully that gets resolved. And but yeah, don't forget to make good on your pledge.
I did see something in Discord that someone else was having that problem, and a resolution also. So I saw that recently. I don't remember which channel that was in, but you may just want to do a quick search. But I remember someone saying they were having a problem with the link and trying to pay up, but there was some kind of resolution posted.
Okay, good. So another reason to be in the Discord. All right. So is that everything we had to get to, John?
I think that's everything.
No, we spent a long time on Snapdragon. Good stadium. Bad experience. All right. So Saturday, Orange County. Let's pack it in. We got to beat this team. We got to keep this run going. Jerry, where can folks find you?
I am off social media forever. Just on Discord, and behind the bass drum in 109. That's where you can find me.
And John, how about you, sir?
Best place is on Discord at John Cross. And I want to give a quick shout out to everybody who's given me well wishes for my recovery here with COVID. I do want to mention I am planning to try to make it out to this next match, but I'm not going to be doing any work. I may not even be in 109, but I kind of need to see if I can do the drive and how my endurance lasts to see if I can actually start the school year teaching. So it'll be a trial run for me. So I'll stop by and do a quick hello, but I don't know how long I'm actually going to make it out there.
Well, I hope.
But I'm going to be there for a little bit.
Good.
All right.
Good. All right. I'm Andrew Dyer. You can find me on Twitter /X app, Andrew P. Dyer, Threads, Blue Sky, wherever, LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, I'm on LinkedIn.
All right. All right. All right. Till next week, y'all. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Any day, go forever, oh, can't you